Imagine if that's how it was. It was like you're only allowed to breastfeed on stream if you can prove. I'm sorry. Can we move on? What is this? What's wrong with you guys? Not dead opossums and their weird defenses. How about some Z Frank? He's fun, right?
This episode sponsored by Brilliant. On a scale of 1 to dead, how dead is this opossum? Why do
Sheer
some
try on
snakes
haul. What
do
is
this?
that?
Are they drunk? And will this opossum live to see another day? You're about to find
No,
out.
I was smart fuck and I watched on incognito mode because I don't want breastfeeding suggestions on my front page.
I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't want to meet one of those in a dark alley. No, you need a nice bright alley so you can get a good look at that face. Looks like a number 2 pencil got busy with a werewolf got busy with a werewolf. But opossums like this one, Jerry, punctuation. But opossums like this one are lovers, not fighters. And when I say
Opossums are really good. They get rid of ticks and immune to rabies. Oh, cool. Wait, I think we've had this discussion before. What's the difference between a possum and an opossum?
opossum, I mean the ones in the Americas in the order Didelphimorphia, not the possums that live in Australia. Very different animals.
Oh, well, there you go. Thanks, Frank.
To screw things up, Australia. There are 126 species of opossum, but only one lives in North America, the Virginia
Can you explain what
opossum.
happened to Nunez?
But
I don't know what you're
south,
getting at.
There's a woolly opossum, a big-ear opossum, fat-tailed, short-tailed, even a four-eyed opossum. But you'll notice none of them are called the two-headed opossum. It wouldn't help distinguish them, because in all these species, the males have a two-headed penis. Now, I can show you one, but only if you show me the one you're imagining first. All right, we'll do a drawing. How's that? Now, the opossum penis is like the double-barrel shotgun of the penis world, split down the middle and each side connected to its own testicle. 2 shots.
Why?
Surprisingly, science tells us this is not designed for nasal sex, but rather for the 2 vaginas and 2 uteruses that female opossums have up in their business.
But why?
Now, the signs that opossums are
Chad,
actually
this is super educational, okay? This is not bad.
quite agreeable start early. Take a look at this opossum sperm. Jerry, those are pool noodles. Thank you. I know what you're thinking.
Okay, fuck it.
2-headed penis, 2-tailed sperm makes sense. But those are actually 2 individual sperm cells that came together. Inside the male opossum, when 2 sperm cells meet, they will often rotate around each other until they line up in a particular way, which causes the heads to stick together. But more importantly, for their tails to start beating in synchrony. When they start to do that, the pair can swim straighter
But
and
why?
faster with less energy.
Oh, so
than
they
if
always
were
get
alone.
twins.
And single unpaired sperm have a tendency to swim in circles. In any case, when a pair reaches an egg cell, they split apart, shake hands, and may the best sperm win sort of thing.
Oh, never mind.
This sort of collaboration happens in quite a number of animals. Here's bull sperm, for example. Here's ant sperm. Looks like 2 sperm gangs are about to rumble. The science hippies call it forming a sperm train. It's a good title for a movie, a buddy comedy. 2 best friends wind up falling in love with the same girl. Or something like, many get on board, but only one will arrive. Sperm train, coming soon. No, too obvious. Anyway, when one of these little
Coming
bastards
soon.
finally gets inside of an egg cell, that's when it starts to get stressful. This little blobule here only has about 2 weeks to grow inside of mama. Opossums are marsupials, and the rudimentary placentas they have aren't enough to protect the babies and keep them safe from their mother's immune system. So, these little parasites get kicked out early. Things start moving quickly around day 9, and by day 11, they look a bit like the love child of Charizard and Casper the Ghost. Looks like a Haunt Me Elmo doll, like a space gopher. Looks like a tardigrade trick-or-treating as Barney. And by day 13, it's time for these little zombie gummy bears
Ew.
to leave. At this point, they're around the size of a bee and blind. But during development, a few things were fast-tracked to help with what happens next. Those cute little claws there are actually temporary and will fall off, but not until after they've helped the baby crawl unassisted from the birth canal to the mother's pouch. That's 4 or 5 body lengths, and they do it blind. Without sight, they rely on their precocious little snout to smell and feel their way to the nipples.
Same.
Once they get there, they can use their surprisingly strong tongues to help latch on tight until the
Ew.
nipple inflates inside their mouth to form a tight seal. On average, opossum mummies have 13 nipples. In this case, 13 isn't unlucky. You know what is? 14. Because opossums will sometimes have more babies than nipples.
Ah, shit.
And in that case, it's sort of like a game of musical chairs. Except, with nipples and to the death. Once they're safely inside the pouch, these flesh bees have time to turn into proper opossum babies. It's cushy in there, not really teaching them independence. And I'll say it. I mean, this is the sort of parenting that leads to spoiled children. You can draw your own conclusions here, but look what happens when they get big enough to leave the pouch.
Damn.
They go straight to the mother's back. And yes, it's
I've
cute.
seen that before.
It's great for Instagram, but look at Mom. The face says it all. It's the mother of resting bitch faces right there. So eventually it's time to kick those little f***ers off and let them fend for themselves. Now, I don't know how much fending you've done, but I can tell you that if you want to get your fend on, it does help to have some equipment. They have this bullwhip of a tail covered with these scaly patches of keratin. And you could mess somebody up with one of those, whoopsh, take an ankle out. But they don't. No one bothered to teach them that. They end up using them to carry sticks and leaves back to the den. I mean, I guess they're good for balance, and when they're young, they can hang upside down on them. And by adulthood, they're too heavy. Ooh, didn't see the tree there? But even if they don't have a fearsome tail, they do have old man hands. Like they're born with the hands of a 70-year-old carpenter with the nail fungus, which somehow always seems to look like their shorter finger. They're not, and their back feet look even more like old man hands.
It's like they're missing a finger
He's
here.
got a little opposable big toe and butt cheek palm.
Look at his thumb.
Palms that are covered in friction ridges for maximum grippage. Makes for a memorable handshake, a foot shake, but not exactly a weapon. But who needs fearsome claws when you have those teeth, right? Oops.
Teeth are so white.
Looks like you got a little salad stuck in there. And if you're counting, there's 50 of them, the most of any land mammal. And they've got this bony ridge up top where muscles attach, so they can chew right through the bones of a
Wait, chat, did you catch that? You just learned a nice little fact that you can say to impress ladies or something. Which land mammal has the most teeth? Oh, it's actually the opossum. It's got 50. Meow. I learned that on YouTube. Hey, where are you going?
mouse. But you can't bring a nutcracker to a fist fight, am I right? I am. And at the end of the day, all these open-mouthed
Troy's dead, thank you. Thanks for the
displays
resub.
are mainly just bluster. So, overall, a bit short on the defense. I'm telling you, lovers, not fighters. However, let me tell you something. They can stand still. Like those dudes dressed up as the Statue of Liberty busking for change on the promenade sort of standing still.
Damn.
I'm talking mind
Right,
level
they
shit.
play dead and shit, right?
You know what my mother used to say? ABC. Always be learning. Because you never learn how to spell. But it is true. And Brilliant.org is where you learn by doing. With thousands of lessons in math, data
Guys,
analysis, programming,
Brilliant.org/ZFrank.
Right now, if learning to program sounds intimidating, Brilliant meets you at your level. And you can
Go
do it
there.
Start off with drag and drop editors that let you code from the get-go. Brilliant is designed to be fun and get all that learning to stick. It's not memorization, but rather a chance to play with concepts and problem solve interactively. And that turns out to be 6 times more effective than watching video lectures.
Yeah, that looks kinda neat.
Analyzing, generating text with Python. One step closer to building that passive-aggressive chatbot to automate
Python?
Always great to see you, Binky Face, Binky Face. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit Brilliant.org/ZFrank.
Post link.
You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Give it a look-see today. Brilliant has been a long-time sponsor of this show, and I'm a fan. Where were we? Oh, right. This now freeze
arming.
response is actually quite common. I bet you've done it. See some jackass friend of a friend come round a corner. Oh, now freeze. Hope they don't see you. Just blend into the background. Like a deer caught in the headlights. Just gonna move you right over here. Rabbits, they're good at this sort of thing. Jerry, do we have to buy the footage for this? I mean, it's just standing still. We could have done a photo. No, not now. Well, now we paid for the footage and the still. Damn it, Jerry. Even blind beach snails have the now freeze. Look at the little one. Bumps into a big predatory Agaronia snail and just stops. It works. The big guy senses something but just lunges forward. Anyway, this freezing behavior is normally for when an animal has spotted a threat but still thinks it hasn't been detected, which is a bit of a stretch for this opossum. I mean, it's moving its head as you walk by. But while frozen, the animal is still aware and quite in control, just waiting for a moment to escape. And this is quite a bit different from another defense that the opossum is famous for. You've heard of it. It's often called playing possum.
Yep.
Doesn't tell you much. A bit self-referential. Sometimes it's, Jerry, that's a dog. Sometimes it's called playing dead, and it can certainly look like that. But it's just one example of something that happens all over the animal kingdom that the science hippies call tonic immobility. These animals aren't playing or pretending, though. This is an involuntary reflex. It's not really in their control. They stop moving, often in a contorted or death-like pose, unresponsive, and this lasts for seconds or up to an hour. It's usually triggered by being royally f***ed, like if you're in someone's mouth, or grabbed, or restrained, or turned upside down. Or in the case of a chicken,
But it's weird to me, though, right? Because you're just becoming even easier to eat food. But I think the idea is, right? Everyone's going to correct me with this, right? A predator that sees already dead food, is it going to probably dodge it? Because it might be old and bad? But what if you run into like a vulture or a hyena? Then you wouldn't want to play dead, would you?
grabbed or restrained or turned upside down. Or in the case of a chicken when it stares at a line, don't ask. And listen, this response does occasionally seem to help animals avoid death. Or an insect, it can actually be part of an escape plan. If you're holding onto a leaf like this wood tiger moth and you suddenly go stiff, you drop to the underbrush and disappear. Same thing if you're flying. Pew! Unexpected. It also might change the calculus of an attack. Battles between ant colonies are usually many against many. So if a vulnerable soft-skeleton juvenile fire ant keels over, its attacker has to move on to the next fight. There's no time to check to see if this one's faking it. And in the same vein, if you live in large groups, you can use this to throw your friends under the bus. If there's a bunch of you running around and the predator thinks you're immobilized...
Wait, that one was crazy. He just stops. Cat. This is like fucking when you throw a toy for your cat, and the toy's really, really interesting until it stops moving. And it's like, eh.
In vein, if you live in large groups, you can use this to throw your friends under the bus. If there's a bunch of you running around and the predator thinks you're immobilized, then it might try for some bonus snacks, giving you just enough time to get away. And stopping a predator from trying to immobilize you can be a huge step towards living another day. Many predators have these instincts to subdue struggling prey, like how a dog shakes violently to maybe break a neck. If you suddenly stop struggling, you might be able to stop the shaking too, or at least get it to tone down a bit. And tonic immobility often does seem to change a predator's behavior. Now, some animals, including the opossum, really seem to ham it up. Sometimes the mouth will be open, or drool coming out. I mean, the hog-nosed snake should get a f***ing Oscar. And there's plenty of other excellent performances, and this has led to the idea that these animals are feigning death, or somehow taking advantage of a predator's instinct not to eat long-dead animals.
Right, yep.
Adding to this is the fact that some of these animals would defecate or exude a gross-smelling substance. The opossum secretes something from there. But a predator would have to be especially stupid to think that an animal...
The skunk build, if you will, seems really efficient.
...facing a moment ago was now a long-dead, rotting corpse. It might just be that it's unappetizing because it's suddenly weird and gross. Or in some cases, like with this pygmy grasshopper, the pose that they get into makes it harder for a frog to eat them. However it works, it's a good trick, and if you have it, you might bring it out on other occasions. A number of animals seem to go into tonic immobility to avoid the advances of a potential mate. Playing dead is a near universal ick. In the case of this female frog here, it might actually save her life. Collections of horny males often get into a frenzy and form mating balls. Stop it. And that can be deadly for a female. Now, even though these animals look completely unconscious, they do seem to be able to still process some aspects of the environment. Some will reduce the time that they're in this state if the threat is past or if there's shelter nearby. And if they're lucky, eventually it's time to wake up. Often a bit groggy and out of sorts, on wobbly legs.
Morning.
You know, sometimes covered in stumbling back to the den with some serious explaining to do. No, I didn't go to the bar last night. I'm telling you, there was a fucking dog. You're lucky to have me home at all. Fine, whatever. Sorry I'm late. All right? Now, how about a little makeup Oh, now you're playing dead. Great. A used nipple that tried to escape out the face of a cat. Looks like a used shuttlecock that grew a body. Looks like a badger that shrunk in the wash. Looks like a raccoon just entering a black hole.
Lol. All right, thanks, Z Frank. Very educational as always. Now we know how playing opossum works, guys.